All right, and here we go. Welcome to episode number 68 of You Had Me at Halo, where we talk about everything to do with one of gaming's most storied franchises as we continue to follow this franchise on its roller coaster. So today we have a lot of things to go over in terms of some confirmed things, that fixes for the game. There are a lot of leaks that have come out there, and we need to really kind of delve into where we're at with this game right now. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and meet today's Spartan team. First up, we have Spartan Aarsal, aka Mr. Soulblazerz. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. I found some Werners last week, so I'm doing real good.
You found some what?
It's ginger ale, but it's hard to find sometimes.
Burners.
That must be a Canadian thing. I don't know.
It's literally made in Michigan.
I had some
when
I went up to Michigan. It was the first time I'd ever heard of it.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
It's a Michigan drink.
I've never got excited about burners. All right, well, next up, we got Spartan Austin, a.k.a. Mr. AustinFordGames. How you doing?
What is up, everybody? I don't know. I couldn't tell if people listening heard that, but I was like, you know what? There's got to be a way that we can get everyone's energy up at the beginning of every episode.
They heard.
Yeah, even better. So there you go. That was my little hey, howdy, everybody. How's it going?
We all were dragging ass coming in here today, so thank you, Austin. I think that was very strategic.
Of course.
Let's see how it works out. We'll suss it later. Next up, we got Spartan Mike, aka Mr. KageMaru, coming back. How's it going, Mike?
What's up, everyone? How you guys doing?
That didn't work on Mike.
All right.
Oh, my Lord. Finally, I'm your host, Spartan Abe, aka OneBadMutha. All right, guys. So we got lots and lots of little tidbits this week. A lot of things to kind of cover. So it's going to be just kind of like a hodgepodge. I think we're going to just introduce everybody to the buffet, see what items on the menu we want to try out and talk about today. But before we get into some of those things, let's just really circle back. I don't think we've had a chance really to address some of the community playlist things. So we're going to just start with that as a little house cleaning item and get everybody's thoughts if you had a chance to jump into some of that stuff. So they put out a playlist for the Forge community maps, and one of our good friends, Mr. John, aka Mr. Sycomechanico, had his map featured, and it's featured a lot. I was playing yesterday, and it felt like that was on there like 75% of the time.
It's straight up, right? It's literally, I'm trying to get streets. I still have not gotten streets. Why is it just perilous?
So it's it's a really good map, but let's talk about that. Any real quick feedback you guys want to bring forth on that?
No, I mean, I think that they did a great job of picking some of the first maps that were made by the community for a Forge playlist. They had a monumentous amount to select from. I think the community has done a great job of coming together and really building out a great Forge offering in general. You know, we support a lot of that over at Forge Era here as an arm of Xbox Era. But man, 343 picks some like very, very solid maps. They seem to be running well. I'm on PC, so I really can't tell how well they're running on like Xbox One. But I haven't really seen anyone complaining about frame rate issues or.
I haven't noticed issues on my end on the series consoles. I actually have heard that some of the maps have stuttered on Xbox One.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah. That is, I mean, like Damnation. I am not surprised by that.
Yeah. That map looks phenomenal.
Now I want to try it on Xbox One. See how it is. Yeah, I've been loving everything that I've been playing. I jumped on the night the update came out, and that was the longest I played Halo in a while.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the thing that stuck out to me. I mean, it's just how refreshing, how much Halo just needs new maps officially in a playlist.
Man.
But even
if only we had some news to talk about in regards to Halo getting new content.
Not just, you know what funny is, so these maps came out, I'm like, oh, finally new content to play. And then I finished the winter update, and then I kind of lost my motivation to keep playing. I'm like, damn
I mean,
I need another
that's
bard.
why I haven't really played that much here
Yeah.
lately. Is
Yeah.
like I crushed the winter update in the first
Yep.
like 2 weeks it was out. So if I jump in, it's because I'm really, really hankering for it. And you know, everyone that listens to the podcast regularly that's heard me on it a few times knows that like sitting down to play PvP for hours on end isn't really my jam anymore. So it really does take that itch for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna boot it up. I booted it up yesterday because I thought there were some items in the store that I wanted, and they were from last week. I was so disappointed. But you know, here we are.
I think one of the interesting things about this community playlist update is that no one really thought it was going to come. What, 2 weeks ago? I think it's been almost 2 weeks now for it to release. It was not this Tuesday, the Tuesday before. We all kind of figured it'd come with Season 3's launch, and it released about a month before, which is kind of becoming a habit. I want to say a little teeny bit. Launch Forge early, launch the community browser early, launch this. Well, wait, Forge didn't. Yeah, Forge did launch early. You know, stuff like that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I think that, I mean, that is a good call out. And it sounds like they are getting some of the basics down in terms.
Forge launched early. The custom
maps,
games browser
the custom games
definitely
browser.
did.
You're right.
The custom
Forge did
games
not launch
browser.
early.
Yeah, you're right. No, the custom games browser. But yeah, just kind of like the wider point, right? Like a few times they've underpromised, or you know, like I guess when they're setting some dates here, they're doing it with giving them some buffer maybe. And I think that's like one of the really core things that you need to do in live service games to get people's trust and get them really. I mean, getting their trust is like one of the biggest things with live service, right? And
it's one of the hardest things, and it's a very fickle thing. You can lose it just as quickly as you gain it.
Yeah,
way quicker.
So
I'd say.
Well, and that was like always like it's always great that, you know, 343s wanted to shoot higher than maybe where they you know, they always maybe like promised. I don't know if I think there's sometimes this thought process that, hey, when you commit to something, you're making yourself accountable, blah blah blah. But you know, and we're gonna push ourselves to do all these things. But you know, going all the way back to like, hey, we're gonna, like, the first thing they ever said about Halo Infinite is we're gonna have like couch co-op, side by side co-op, and it never, you know, made it in there. It's like I think they maybe are finally getting it, or the leadership now kind of understands that aspect of it, and that is very key, because you're right. Like I feel like the drop off was as much to do with people just being like, you know, I just don't really like, I can't, like, this is just too much of a up and down roller coaster, continue to break promises, even if it's not a meaningful promise. Like sometimes there's been things and people are like, oh, what's the big deal? But it's just like, it just keeps adding up. Right. And just like any relationship or anything like that. So hopefully this is a good sign of things to come, and that will, you know, and maybe even Microsoft as a whole, everything going back to their developer direct, and like, maybe this is like the theme now, like, let's save a little bit, like, instead of our best case scenario promising them that, let's promise with some room to maybe over deliver. And that's that.
I think go ahead
Am
Mike.
I imagining things? It didn't, in one of the interviews, didn't they say that now they're willing to release some things at 90% complete, and then you're muted there, Aarsal.
Yeah, they specifically mentioned that. Sorry, go ahead.
They're looking to treat I think Halo Infinite's live service as something like an early access sort of product, where they're like, hey, like, we're at least going to hand this off to you so that you can get an idea as to like what the vision is for it, so that you have something new to play when we're happy with the state that it's in. But you know, we'll never say that we're done working on a thing.
Yeah. But I think, you know, I'm thinking that's contributing to these features coming out early, and it's working out well for them because they're being well received.
As long as you position it like that, that's always been my thing. You know, some of the frustration, right? Like, we talked about this even with the launch of Halo, which, you know, we always had that debate. I came back to the idea that, hey, the game should have been delayed. But I think even if you would have framed a multiplayer as like some early access thing, which it really was, that was an early access. That's what we had for a year. And if you would have framed it correctly, you would have had a different response. So any other thoughts on that before we kind of move to some of the official
I just
changes?
need to point it out because I know we'll get a comment about it. One of the first things they talked about was including split screen in the game, and it is in the game. The only thing you can't split screen is
and it actually
Forge and campaign.
works
You can
pretty
split
well.
screen
By the way,
multiplayer.
I've played split screen a fair bit on Halo Infinite. Just matter of friends plays or my siblings are over. Forge works pretty decent, except like the skybox will load for one person, but not for the other people. So it's like purple for one guy, but not for the others, or things like that. But it like matchmaking works pretty well on series consoles at least, which makes sense. I mean, the game's designed to run on Xbox One consoles, right?
Although I will say, Austin, you can always get it in like, and I know what you're doing, like just making sure we get ahead of it because we'll get something in the comments later about how we messed up on that. But at the end of the day, it's not it's not just semantics. Like they know what the community is running with, and it's kind of up to them to get in front of that. And I think at the end of the day, they really did plan to have something.
Oh, 100%. Well, I just wanted to say that it was two different statements. The idea that like, hey, couch co-op for campaign came after they had already been like, no, every Halo game moving forward will have split screen again, because I think some people forget Halo 5 didn't have any split screen whatsoever.
No, it didn't.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're squeezing as much performance as you can out of that little fucking microwave. So
that little VCR.
Yeah.
Well, little, I don't know.
Yeah.
How nice will it be when they can just finally like just unhinge the Xbox
straight
One
up.
and just
sunset
like let it float
and
float
Viking
over to
Infinity
Unreal Engine
Roll.
5.
One thing that's interesting about this playlist was they mentioned it being an evergreen playlist. At least that's the plan.
Yeah.
So they don't plan on rotating it out, but I imagine they're definitely planning on rotating maps and game modes in.
Oh yeah.
I would like for them
Yeah.
to add on before they start rotating things out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think
that's true.
as long as they do it in a way that makes sure that players are getting to see the new content.
Yeah.
Like people are already complaining about experiencing like too many maps in a row. It's a very similar
Yes.
problem to like Apple first introducing Shuffle on the iPod, wherein like it is truly an even split in the API. None of the maps are weighted heavier than the others. When Apple first introduced Shuffle on the iPod, for those listening, it was a true shuffle, so people would complain to Apple about getting the same albums multiple times in a row. And they were like, well, this isn't actually shuffling it. And Steve Jobs was like, actually, you idiots, it is absolutely shuffling it. This is what happens. So they went in and like weighted the way that it shuffles music. As long as 343 kind of adds a little bit of heavier weighting to new content.
I mean,
doesn't
just
rotate
move Perilous from the 70% weighting down to maybe like 15, and I think we're okay.
I feel like John did the weighting for
definitely.
these playlists because we played yesterday and I swear I had
You like my map,
3 out of 4
don't you?
times.
In it, my map, in it.
But what's interesting is about something like
not
Perilous,
even what he
there's
sounds like.
technically a night version of that same map. I could see them like even just like doing that as a quick change. You know what I mean? Like I'm hoping whoever's in charge of live service or whatever is keeping a close eye on these playlists. And okay, you know what's really interesting? So we'll talk about it. I guess we can bring it up now. But in one of the updates recently, they're removing certain game modes and map types from certain things based off of popularity, they said. And I'm thinking, I'm like, how the hell do you determine which game mode and map is popular? And then I realized it's just people leaving, right? It's just people leaving or going AFK or something makes them determine.
I do think that the team
Is that our
doing a good
voting
job
mechanism?
also of going through like online forums, their own forums, Reddit,
that's for sure.
Twitter, and like collecting user data that way. How many people are complaining about Oddball and Aquarius this week versus last week and that kind of stuff? But
they're definitely, if they were looking at mostly that, they would have removed the detachment from the whole game by now.
There's been I don't want to ever have to plant a seed again in my life. And every time I play with groups, they all agree with me. And I wonder, do they not get that feedback? Is that not, part of the weighting and in terms of the game types?
Yeah.
I do think, it's interesting you bring that up because it's like makes me think, oh, maybe I just need to start leaving more often. I never leave. I can't think of.
I got removed
outside of-
today because someone was at the door and I was like 30 seconds too slow to move my character a little bit while AFK in a map. Oh man.
You
just put
like,
something on your stick. So you just
I realized I
constantly
didn't
walk
realize
into a
how
wall.
how quick you leave.
oh,
I saw
man.
somebody set the controller up so that their oscillating fan would just tug on one of the analog sticks every so often.
Though I'll be
Very
honest
good.
right now, I'll say that if you're someone who instead of leaving just makes their controller AFK, screw you.
Yeah.
Screw you. Just leave, please. I'd rather have a bot than someone not doing anything. Please.
Also, I like PSA. If you are the last player on your fucking team,
oh yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
Don't make me finish a Slayer game that is like 10 to 24
Yep.
and like finish out because it's gonna go to time.
God.
There's no way.
I never
can't-
leave.
You
I
will
just-
not respawn
I don't leave.
enough.
I to spite everybody. Like I have people swearing at me. Like
I think
like what? Yeah, I won't repeat all the
Oh,
stuff
man.
that you hear. But
I will
like, no,
quit.
I will.
They don't penalize you if you quit when you're outmatched like that, right?
I don't
No,
think so.
they don't.
More games should do like the Dota method, which is the first person who quits gets like penalized hard, but then afterwards you're free to quit without any kind of penalty.
I think that's how
Should
they
be the
did it. Or at
first
least
two.
Infinite and MCC both treated that way.
They do. Okay, good. Okay, that's good to know.
yeah. So, but I think so to your point, I that's the one thing that kind of came to my mind. I do want to see them take some sort of feedback loop, and I don't know what the best way to do. Like if you could do it in game. Maybe I'm almost afraid to throw anything in game because it sounds simple to us, but it probably would just, send the whole thing crashing and burning again. So, whether that's like an official place to go vote on these things, I think that would be.
Just bring back the veto system from Halo 3, man. Like what a perfect
something
voting
because
system.
Because wouldn't that does convey information to them, right? Because
It does.
some of these
And like I will give you that like Reaches probably did it better, giving you multiple options to vote on. But I hated it because it would always be the same map and mode.
Exactly.
Every time.
That's
Yep,
my issue
yep.
with the voting system.
Yeah.
It's you never played any new
So
maps. You build,
give
like,
me
one
a
map and that's it.
veto system again, and I can like say I really don't want to play Swatnums on fucking Behemoth right now. Actually, thanks. I'd much rather play like free for all.
So did it just pick a different
VRs.
map when you veto a map?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in Halo 3, you would veto a map depending on the playlist. It would veto both the map and the game mode, so it would completely re-roll you
Interesting.
new mode
Okay.
and new map.
Okay.
It was
But
just
to
like
do-
that match
yeah.
never happened, or
Yeah.
To do that, they'd have
Yeah.
to make a lobby system though, right? Which is
Yeah,
what's
we're not
lacking.
anywhere near there. But the opportunity here is like we're seeing just the tip of the iceberg with Forge maps, and I think some of these, some of these blockouts are based off of existing maps, and yeah, I know it's a new sandbox and all that, but some of these things I think could make it into other playlists and probably will make it in other playlists, and then that evergreen, there's just so much potential there, and again, like you look at those, there's not really visually, I'm not feeling like I'm playing a Forge map, so why not?
Yep.
Why not throw
Yep.
some of these things?
that
into,
Salvation
like,
map
official-
looks like phenomenally good. Like it just looks like a dev-made remake of
I don't
Damnation,
like the
you know?
way it flows though. Like, does anybody else think that map flows just terribly? Like,
It's a
which
confusing
one
map,
now?
to be honest.
just it's the prettiest map, but it's
The remake
Nice.
of Damnation, the Halo CE map.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't really fit
the
the
flow
sandbox.
is yeah.
It's
I mean, I'd argue
Well,
Damnation
I
wasn't that
think-
good of a map in the first place.
That's an interesting take. I think the Reach version of it is probably its best iteration. I think the Reach's sandbox plays really well with it. I'm not arguing with you.
No, what
Soul?
was the Reach version again? I'm trying to remember.
It was the Halo Anniversary map pack.
Oh, yes. That's where Hang 'em
Um,
High and stuff was there too, right?
yeah. I think that was my favorite version of it. I can see the Reach sandbox not lending itself super well to this map. I have not gotten to play on it yet.
I think
Alright.
it's
But-
the weird like rock area. It kind of just like it doesn't flow.
It's
that well.
too-
I definitely agree.
yeah.
maybe I'll change your mind, but yeah, I'm not digging that one. But all right, let's move forward. Let's.
I think we
talk
should
about,
jump into the patch notes before
Yeah.
we jump into like the main course of
The
the
meat.
discussion. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Basically,
All right.
the February update landed. I thought it landed 2 months ago. And this is a bunch of sandbox changes that 343 had talked about a while back. I believe before Worlds is what Soul was saying earlier. But little things like the frag grenade damage radius changed by 0.2 world units. The sniper rifle is a little bit easier to hit. No scopes with, which is funny because their feedback on this point is like, actually, guys, the way that the sniper is tuned is this should be the easiest sniper to hit no scopes with.
Yep, that was interesting.
But we'll give you a little bit more freedom with that. And then some very minor bug fixes. One of the biggest ones, though, was definitely not something I had experienced much in a long time. But I know, Abe, you said that you had been experiencing it. But supposedly this fixed some of the gun jamming issues that people were still dealing with.
Yeah.
Though it seems that they added a few issues too. Apparently, flag juggling is a little off right now.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, apparently the green gun doesn't feel as precise still.
I tell you, I would almost guarantee the reason why the flag drop has such a delay now is because it's tied to the same system that the weapon dropping system is tied to.
Right. Yep. They
extended that timer. So
right. Interesting.
Oh, you know what? That's so those things work. That makes sense. Good call out.
I think one major change, which was very nice and something that the pro scene has been asking for a while, was the weapon racks. Now, when you pick a weapon up, it goes immediately red, meaning it's not going to respawn again till the weapon's gone. There were some complaints that in ranked and in the pro scene, there's just way too many different weapons flying around at all times, right? Which, to be honest, as a viewer, is fun to watch, right? But I can understand how it's a little frustrating for the players.
So lame. Don't play something else, man. If you don't want weapons on the maps, like...
I agree, honestly.
It's like the agreements in pro games where people won't use like the energy sword. It's like, what are you talking about? Some of my favorite MLG moments in Halo 2 were energy sword kills. Like, people would just go on tears, get like a nasty triple kill, and somebody would come around the corner, they pull the sword out and like wipe that dude off the map. It was awesome.
I do think Halo Infinite's energy sword was a little too powerful with the lack of melee trades, which they fixed.
For sure.
So hey, I mean, like, there it is, you know?
So is there anything that stands out to you guys on these?
So one thing I wanted to mention is these changes, right? Especially a lot of the pro changes. There's something that people have wanted for a while. Even the energy sword change, the mangler change, blah, blah, blah. And Tashi, the head of esports, right, would always have to go through like another team, the balanced team, and this team, and then kind of like, hey, they want this, what do we got, blah, blah, blah. In the recent interview, Tashi mentioned that he's now like in a position where he can just more directly make these changes. He doesn't need to go through as many hoops or whatnot to get these changes into the system. So that's kind of interesting. I think as like a fan of the esports, it's a good thing because he does care about the scene and he's really on the nose, on the ball with like what the pro players are saying and not saying and blah, blah, blah. So yeah,
that's it.
Literally, that's his job.
You know what's interesting about that, and I didn't even really think about this till you said that, but that seems to be one of the biggest issues with 343 in general was like all the bureaucracy to get any change or get anything through. You know, like even talking to people that, you know, basically said how much like artwork and map design and stuff would just get wasted and like it would just go back and forth, get shut down by this team.
Like the mangler was GA'd for months, if not maybe an entire year, right? Like it really should have been just replaced by something else a long time ago. And I was talking to my brother and I'm like, why isn't it changed? And I don't know, it's gotta be like an ego thing or something, right? Like someone on the team's like, no, this gun is perfect. We're keeping it exactly where it is and we're not going to mess with it.
But the whole time it was just the bureaucracy of it. And that's
really
just, and it's like you got to be responsive, right, with a live service. So again, I mean that's a good sign. It's you know when you kind of like going back to some of our previous episodes, we talk about some of the issues with 343, some of the length of time it takes for them to kind of go back and forth to make a change or get on the same page. Hopefully this that's a sign of things to come. Any other things that jump out to you guys though about any of the balancing? Or are we ready to kind of move?
I think we literally touched on everything.
Yeah. Well, you know, one thing you didn't mention though, they did say the custom browser is going to get a fix, and I think that was my biggest
The exact words are: players are now less likely to experience a looping, unable to connect to Fireteam error message while joining or playing custom game browser session, which was a really common problem. I found that if you ever left a custom game match like without it completing, you would get that, and the only fix is restarting the entire game. So if they completely fix that, awesome. I haven't tested it, but
you're right. Well, that's the thing is like, you know, the custom browser. I mean, we know they put it out early. It was in beta, but really quickly I realized I didn't want to mess with it because it was kind of junky and janky where it was at least at initial release. So hopefully that's a good sign of things to come because there's going to be a lot of neat Forge things coming. So all right, let's move on to the rumors unless anybody has any.
We did have a super chat. From our good friend Hytham. He says, a Masterchief Nenderoid is being made by Good Smile.
I actually already found it. I'm going to drop a link for it in our little stream chat over here.
I did post it on the screen. I got to get better with just getting just images instead of an entire window. But for now, that's what I got.
Man, it looks so good. It has like the detail on these. I can never say it right. But these Nenderoids are so good. I pronounced it wrong.
So really quick, as someone who has first heard about this when someone linked me this a few days ago, what the heck is a Nenderoid? Do you know?
Oh, it's just like a little collectible chibi figure that are made to like basically be big enough or small enough to fit in your hand, but they're incredibly detailed. Like if you look at this chief one, the detail on his assault rifle, he has the grapple shot on his arm. There's just some like really
the
fine
full armor
detail.
is just really well detailed.
Yeah. So once this gets
neat.
like fully painted, it's gonna look super rad.
Who's gonna paint that for me though? So like, do I got to?
Oh no! It'll be fully painted. This is a prototype.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool then. Actually, okay, that makes sense. I get it.
Because you know, you guys remember like as kids, you know, you get those things and you do the painting yourself. And,
oh God,
you know, you ruin it at that point. So I was like, if I get something that detailed, I don't want to ruin it. All right, cool. Thanks for the super chat, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into some of the rumors and things like that. And so there's a lot of things that came out. And basically, well, you know what? I'll let you. Yeah, well, I'll let you guys articulate because one of the things I was talking to you guys about before the show is like, okay, like what are the legitimacy of some of these leaks? We talk about that when we throw things out there. We know there's Halo rumors, there's Xbox rumors all the time, and you know you kind of like. Some of them you weight higher than others based on where they're coming from. Sure. But this does this is a little bit different, right, in terms of where this is coming from. So it is still, we don't want to take any of these things as gospel because they are works in progress. But I'll let you guys articulate that for us. I think Austin, you explained it pretty well.
Yeah. So like Abe was saying, these are from a leaked build of the game. That Microsoft is like actively trying to remove from the internet. Nothing in here is concrete. Nothing in here is guaranteed to be coming out in the next 2 seasons. But there's some really interesting things coming out of this leak, basically flight build. I think for me, some of the most exciting things are some of the maps that we're seeing. There's one thing that I'll touch on, and I know everyone listening to the podcast, if they're familiar with the things that I care about in Halo, they'll know what it is going to be. But there's some really cool new maps. There's some Forge canvases that they're working on. One of them is a massive reimagining of Forge World from Halo Reach. And I'm super stoked about that. That looks absolutely crazy. There's a really cool map that reminds me a lot of Sanctuary from Halo 2 that looks like it's been incredibly modernized. It looks like an even better version of the Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer version of Sanctuary that we got forever ago. And then there's also like the Crystal Caves map. I think some of the crazier things about this leak is because this is a true game build, there is footage circling around on the internet, and it is not at all hard to find, guys.
Yep, it's currently playing. Really quick, sorry.
Cool.
Delta Index is the channel for anyone wondering.
Yeah. So Delta Index has been putting up videos against most other leakers' better judgment because this could be struck and lawsuits could be filed and all of that fun stuff just for them having this footage. But it's not our footage; it's their footage, so we're fine.
Fair
So
use.
this is the season 3 BTB map that we already saw a little snippet of in the last live stream that 343 put out. We've gotten to see a little bit more of the bandit rifle, a little bit more of the shroud screen rather. There's another equipment item that's being worked on, which is basically a short range teleporter.
Yes.
Kind of akin to the Apex Legends characters teleport function, and I cannot remember her name, but if you play Apex, you probably know who I'm talking about. This is also showing off the arena map that I cannot remember the name
Cliffhanger, I
of.
think.
Cliffhanger,
Because I
thank
just
you,
said
yes.
it. I would
What
not
was the
remember
first
another
one?
one. Oasis was the name.
Oasis
was
was
the
the
first
first one, yeah.
Okay.
And then Cliffhanger, and then there's, I am going to butcher this name again. I just had it up a minute ago.
Chasm
But-
or Chasm? Chasm.
Yes, Chasm, the Forerunner map that looks ridiculous. Chasm has not actually been officially announced.
Yeah,
It was leaked months ago.
This looks like a Forge map almost, doesn't it? I mean, I know it's not, but
It looks like a level
just-
from the campaign.
It looks
Yeah.
like it is a section of a level from a campaign.
Well, when I say it looks like a Forge map, it just looks like somebody was just creating something to grapple shot like crazy, and this is just there to like just to have some stupid part, like a fun little party mode.
What's
game,
the
'cause
what's the
I don't
mode?
see how that's going to play very well in any competitive.
What's the mode for season 3
setting.
again? I honestly don't remember. The mode they announced and said it's coming with season 3.
VIP, I think.
Is it VIP?
I
Yeah,
think so.
yeah, it is. It is. Maybe this map is for that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and it could be. Look, here's the deal with Chasm. I don't think it's going to be a great map, but I do think I said this before the podcast started. But I do think that 343 is going to win brownie points with the community in some regardless, because this is a map that has not been announced. That will be coming in season 3, either at launch or shortly after launch. It really just kind of depends on where the map is at that point in time. But those 3 maps are like loaded and ready to go, basically.
Mm-hmm. Along with the bandit, right? Like the bandit and shroud.
Yeah, the
Bandit's
bandit, the shroud, and then obviously the 2 new armor cores, the Chimera core, which is like the
which looks good.
sort of crisis looking core. And
There are
then
leaks for the
SPI
Chimera core too. I don't want to put them up because honestly the core looks amazing, and I feel like that's where it's just the thing comes out and you see.
I don't feel like we need to show them off. I mean, it's just new cosmetic items. There's one helmet that looks like the one of the Halo 5
Sentry,
helmets that I
was it?
liked a lot. The Atheon helmet was one that I liked a lot in Halo 5, and there's a helmet in here that looks kind of like that, so I'm stoked about that.
The bug helmet's coming back, right?
Yeah. So some of these just look so dumb, and I love how dumb they look.
So
But, like,
here's
it's like 343 just can't let go of that shitty Halo 4 era helmet design that they rocked. They're like, oh, you want a VCR for a visor, brother? Here you go.
I still remember one time I was talking to Mike, and he's like, "Yeah, so I make my Spartan look as ugly as possible." I'm like, "There's no way that's true." And I check his Halo 5 Spartan, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." You put some time into this. One thing that's interesting is if you know me at all, I don't like leaks, like at all. I'm very against them for the most part, which sounds kind of weird and hypocritical coming from someone on Xbox era, which like we thrive off of Nick's insiders and info and stuff like that. That being said, I feel like in a scenario like this, where a game like Halo Infinite, where literally 2 weeks ago, the general consensus amongst us even, and I think we're generally on the more positive end when it comes to this game, is that they're winding down support. They're moving on to the next game. Infinite might not even get a couple more seasons. You know what I mean?
I was getting on that bandwagon, honestly.
Oh man, I was too.
I was wondering. I was questioning how far they would go after season 4.
Yeah,
That's
my
3
thing.
and 4 were a lock. Is 5 and
Yep.
6 equally a
And
lock?
then it's in moments like those and games like those where a leak like this helps. It doesn't really hinder. It's like, hey, we're still working on a lot of crap. Like a lot. Like clearly this isn't just season 4 and 5. Maybe it is. Maybe there's a chance it all gets scrapped and blah 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 blah. But look at this, or rather don't look at this, but if you do happen to look at it, look at this. And we're working on a lot of things. And this is one of those few scenarios where I want to say the leaks help, really. You know what I mean?
I don't think they should take these leaks down because I think that is a legitimate question. We talked about it behind the scenes a lot and on the podcast as well. But we know things can change fast. And I was like, I know they're going to have season 3 and 4. Beyond that, I would not bet money. Is where I was a few weeks ago. I wouldn't bet any money because maybe they're just going to pivot everything and just say, you know what, the Forge is good. You guys we'll rotate stuff and we'll just MCC it from here, right? Like it's basically this is what the game is, and that's where and I think that's still always a possibility. A lot of it's going to depend on how it performs, but at the end of the day, we do see there is a lot in that they're working on. And we need to reiterate, a lot of these things may not ever see the light of day, but they are in progress. Some really cool things too, like some of the vehicles. Obviously, we've been waiting for the Falcon forever. Now we see like there's other weapons. So besides the Bandit, we got the double barrel shotgun, which they showed, and it has a little bit of a tweak to it. All these things, like even a couple weapons, a couple new vehicles. All these things can
I wanted
really
to quickly just like hit on some of that. Soul did just throw up a video of that double barrel shotgun. It's called the Enforcer. This looks like it's much further along than something like the Komodo. I don't know that the Komodo will ever see the light of day, like you were saying, Abe. The Enforcer is something that I've been hearing about in leaks for a long time now. So I do think that this is actually going to probably be launching in season 3 because another secret thing. Yes.
No way.
Because another secret thing that I've been hearing is coming in season 3 is Infection. Which is going to be built around some of the narrative events.
So I wanted to talk about that. Last couple of weeks, or we thought Infection was coming season 3, but now I'm kind of like hearing people saying no, it might still be the season 4 thing, which is what we all assume.
I still think it's because some of the original leaks that seem like they've been on target, going all the way back to before the bad news dropped late last year. Before they kind of told us about how far out the season 3 would be and all that stuff. It seems like that roadmap's been pretty accurate, and Infection was on that roadmap. So I feel like,
admittingly, there have been a lot of changes at 343.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things, a lot of different priorities, right? Like maybe things moved.
Well,
and
I feel like a lot of the campaign team that maybe didn't get laid off, if they were able to be repurposed into supporting live service, have probably been moved over to that area.
Yeah,
at least for now. While whatever is next is being sort of baked in some sort of level of pre-production.
Yep. Also, there is Doom music playing in this video for anyone wondering, because
I gotta
this
say,
is straight up just a super shotgun.
this double barrel shotgun, I think it can be badass, but I think it's going to annoy the living shit out of me.
So how it works,
just like the double barrel in Gears 3.
It has alt fire, which shoots both bullets at once as a one-hit kill. And then it has normal fire, which is obviously the 2 shots, and it also has a gravity hammer as a melee.
Yeah,
which is really interesting.
That is a power weapon.
It will be a power weapon.
Sure. Yeah, this is.
It looks 100%. Fun as hell, and this is
like something like this to release with Infection would be insanely fun.
Imagine being able to melee them as they're like rushing you because of the gravity. Goddamn! I really hope you're right, man. I really hope Infection releases with it. I'm not sold on it though, because I feel like there's an entire narrative behind the Infection for Halo Infinite, and I feel like that's a season 4 narrative probably.
That's who knows that still. Well, we'll see. We got some bets go here.
Wasn't a part of the leak of them revamping the narrative thing where you can even rewatch previous?
Yeah, they did mention they're going to show cinematics. You're going to be able to watch the previous cinematics in the menu.
Well, and the cool thing is, like, some of these leaks are also pointing at the narrative of multiplayer having a way larger role in the multiplayer story going forward than it was in season 1 and 2. Yeah. Like, obviously, first 2 seasons narrative was. Or wait, what season are we in right now? We're in season 2, right?
We're in season 2.
Jesus.
Oh, we're in season.
That's
winner.
Right. I couldn't remember, which is hilarious. But like, the narrative was so dry, so light. It
didn't even exist.
Incredibly horseshoed in. But
I
now,
accidentally skipped one of the cutscenes, and
I did too.
This is coming from someone that I will watch every cutscene every time I play through.
Oh god!
No matter if I play the game 30 times, I've just OCD where I want to watch the cutscene to get the full experience. Skip this cutscene. Didn't give a crap.
Ahmed is saying in our chat right now that they hope that there is just more story, like narrative content in multiplayer. According to some of these leaks of stuff that's in this leak build, it does seem like that narrative is going to take a more front and center place, which is great for lore fans that are now anticipating the next mainline game to take a minimum of 5 years to release.
Do you guys think that this is at all edging towards what they teased regarding your multiplayer character having a more narrative role? Like,
I think they've already done that. Like with the fact that like they do the Destiny thing now, or we saw it in season 2,
character,
where like your Spartan is in the cutscenes.
Yeah, but
Mohawk and everything.
I mean, if that's what
cat ears, baby.
If that's what they were talking about, then that's kind of disappointing because it seemed like it was something bigger than.
I get that. I would not hold my breath over anything in that regard right now.
Yeah. I'd expect maybe some more in-depth cutscenes, which maybe like some cool moves. Like, you ever played Monster Hunter World? You know, you get like some like cutscenes in there where like your character does some cool stuff, but it's your character with like, like in real-time cinematics. I feel like it'll probably take like that Titanfall aspect where it's like, hey, the multiplayer is the campaign, so to speak. Like, say, Infection. It'll be like an Infection playlist with the thing, and you'll finish it, and you'll get a cutscene in the beginning, cutscene at the ending. Please have the cutscene be more than, hey, Spartan, you did a good job. Thank you.
I mean, this reminds me of like anytime my guardian actually speaks in Destiny these days, I lose my shit. I'm like, oh, here we go, narrative character building. This is awesome.
Oh god. Though speaking of, man, I keep my helmet on. My guardian does not take it off. So when they take it off in the cutscene, I'm like, bro, what's happening here, dude?
You're so ugly. Put that shit back on.
Straight up. Sorry, Abe, I cut you off.
No, I was going to say, I'll go ahead and just like read. I'm going to read the entire leak. This is all the stuff that came from the leak build. And
really quick, should I put up the new main menu on screen? It looks really cool.
Do
so that. I personally feel like it's a pretty major lore spoiler.
Right, yeah.
Really?
But it's also kind of tied into the way Infection is going to work in the future.
Yeah.
So I will say I'm outvoted here.
I don't care if it goes up or not.
I mean, it's just a main menu. It's like one image.
I mean, it is a main menu thing, right? Like, I think it's a little spoilery, but I don't think that it's going to ruin anybody's experience.
Everyone look away.
You know what? The episode title
how about
is
this? If you don't want to see it, don't look at the screen. This is a podcast.
It's coming. It's coming. All right. I'll go ahead and just kind of read the full thing here. And then if there's some other things you want to call it, because there's a few other things that I thought were kind of interesting that we haven't touched on. So I'll just read this whole thing, everything they know. So they said 28 new maps. Obviously, don't expect 28 maps to like drop like in the next few months.
Yes,
a lot of these probably won't see the light of day, right? 3 of those maps have been were the ones we talked about. So the new narrative events, you guys already talked about that as well. Infection is confirmed to be in development. We already know that. Now, some of the stuff that gets interesting, brutes, elites, and grunts are in Forge and spawnable. Austin, I know we disagree on this a little bit. I am actually really excited about the possibility, especially, one of the things that gets annoying to me is I'm looking at like that new shotgun. I'm like, how cool would that be in the campaign, or, they're going to add these new vehicles and things like that. So I just want to start trying out some of these things in a just shoot the AI a little bit, get with some friends. And if you turn up the difficulty right now with like the Marine bots, they can be really challenging. It's actually not a bad experience. So if they can do the same thing with, I mean, heck, we see what they're doing, Chat GPT and all, like the what is it? The Skynet shit is coming. So like, just give us a little piece of that in Forge with some of this AI. So, but basically, right now they're not doing anything, so it looks like this is still down the road. They've already hinted at this. We talked about it in previous shows. I think is going back to last year. So they talk about the Falcon, which we've known about that for a while. New vehicles, new weapons, and then basically the AI in Forge.
I would love to don't step on toes, but I would love to touch on this specific thing because it feels like I'm being vindicated. It feels like 343 is like, Austin Ford, here you go.
Yeah. So this is like the setup, right, for the main thing that this is Austin's show. Like we only had today's show because Austin wanted to talk about this. But basically, the thing that's
All right,
that's
I'll fucking leave.
Austin, why don't you go ahead and read it? Do you have it up in front of you? My cat is
I do.
trying to disconnect all my shit right now.
So I'm not going to read this verbatim because the Halo Leaks community has some animosity amongst its members. But basically, someone had made a very vague tweet about knowing something that was very cool and potentially very big, and not being comfortable with sharing it. The person who gave us all of this leaked information that Abe did just read off basically verbatim is that thing is Firefight. The fun thing is last week when this kind of all started popping off, Aarsal and I had a conversation about it. And I said, it's one person saying that it's Firefight. The person that I would trust is the person being vague about it.
Yeah.
I don't trust this. Then we got motherfucking voice lines from Jeff Steitzer, brand new Firefight voice lines. I promise you, I went back and compared them to Halo 5 voice lines. Not that he voiced Halo 5 Firefight. Couldn't find anything of Jeff Steitzer for Firefight in Halo 5. They are not from Reach. They are not from ODST. These are brand new, recently recorded, supposedly in this build. Not that Firefight is in this build, but that voice lines being in the game are pointing at Firefight being at some stage in development. Even if that is early, we might not see it till season 6. This is the light at the end of the tunnel for me. I thoroughly enjoy Halo Infinite. I will continue to play it anytime new seasons drop. I still jump in for new events. I still play every once in a while just because I want to. But you want me to be on this game like at least twice a week, minimum twice a week. Give me PvE. Give me Firefight. I've been talking with Abe on this podcast about how spawnable AI in Forge is not going to do it enough for me because it's just not going to be a robust enough experience, regardless of how much scripting you can do. There is limitations to Halo Infinite scripting. Dedicated Firefight has me so fucking giddy. It's not even real. Like, I have not actively been like, guys, we're recording the podcast this week, right? In such a long time. Because, oh my God, Firefight is basically guaranteed to happen. That's a little hyperbolic, but like, ooh, give me Firefight. I am so excited about it.
Yeah, I can't wait for Firefight. That's going to be keeping me coming back more so than the PvP. Just because... multiplayer is fun. I usually play it only with friends or a group of friends or what have you.
Right.
That's the only really time that I'll sink into it. But I'll play Firefight with random people by myself.
Hours and hours on end.
Yeah.
So a quick update for people who are watching who may not know what the heck is Firefight, because it's not in this game and it came in the last game a little late. So I'm only half joking. There are people that get into Halo with every new game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Halo spin on a horde mode.
Yeah, that doesn't help the people who are new to Halo. Like that much.
It's a wave-based. It's a wave-based, PVE mode where you have a onslaught of enemies that are assaulting you, and you usually have a set number of lives or some rules where after so many stages or waves, they'll switch it up. They'll give you black eye or something.
Yeah.
So they'll add and remove skulls to modify the difficulty. Typically, every so many rounds or after every so many waves, which comprise a single round, you will get a bigger encounter, which will sometimes include some sort of boss fight as well. Or maybe not necessarily a boss fight in its earliest iteration, just like way tougher enemies that come in and just try to eliminate you. There were some really fun achievements to get in ODST's Firefight, which were like, hey, survive for 7 rounds on legendary difficulty, 4-player co-op. And like,
wasn't it like 3 hours or something?
What?
It was
Wasn't there one for 3 hours? Yeah, I got whatever the hardest one was. Oh yeah, and it was insane. It was just so intense. And
This is a NASCAR race?
What?
Nothing. It's just- Wait, so ODST was the first firefight in Halo,
Yeah.
right? 'Cause
Correct,
I'll be
yeah.
completely honest with you guys. I don't really play firefight. I don't really play horde mode. I touched on it a little bit of Gears 5. I played a little bit of Halo 5 firefight, just a little bit, but generally it's not something I really did much.
Sure.
It wasn't great in 5.
I mostly played
It wasn't great in
ODST.
5.
Yeah, I didn't play any
Reaches
of 5.
was kind of
Reach-
boring because
Yeah.
survivability in mainline Halo games is so high.
Hmm.
That combat challenge is a little bit tougher to initialize. Kind of like in the older Halo games, I don't feel like the newer ones really do this anymore, but I need to go back and do some testing. But like in Halo 1, for example, if you were playing on Legendary, your shields would respawn or recharge significantly faster and sooner than they would if you were playing on Easy. But because the combat challenge is so much easier on Easy, you're not worried about your shields recharging ever. Whereas on Legendary, if you can get away from an enemy for a minute, then you deserve the bonus that is faster shields, quicker
I
shields.
think the current games still do that.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's just been a long time since I played a Halo game on Easy.
Yeah, that's the
straight
thing.
up, actually, that's true.
So it's
I don't
so
think
like
I've
stuff
ever
like
played it
stuff
on
like that.
easy.
It's I think Halo Reach didn't do a great job of implementing the campaign style combat challenge into the mode. Like you had your shield and of course you had health because it was Reach, but like the way that Reach's health system worked, like you were basically guaranteed to recharge so much health at any point in time. Your shields came back pretty quick. It was just really, really simple.
If I remember correctly, didn't the original version of Reach's Horde also have a cap, like a wave cap? And what there was no infinite
if
mode
you
or
were
something
playing,
like that?
if you were playing matchmaking for it, yeah, it had a cap.
That's what it.
Yeah.
I'm
Which is
thinking
the
of.
problem with Halo 5's Firefight as well, is that it had a cap. A
Yeah.
very small
Yeah,
cap, significantly
yeah.
smaller than Reach's was. ODST didn't have any matchmaking. You could only play by yourself or with your friends.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but there was no cap. There was no, and it was balanced so wonderful. Like, man,
Dude,
there was so many
ODST
different
is
strategies.
just a harder game.
Yeah,
I'm playing some ODST firefight.
So
audience.
I have a video on
Memories.
my channel about like Halo Infinite Firefight, like Firefight 2.0. If you want to pull that one up, that is my video.
I will pull
It's
that up.
just
That makes a lot more
B-roll.
sense.
It's just B-roll. I would love. I'm gonna hit on this very quickly. I promise this will not be the rest of the show. But like, I talk about it in that video. You don't have to go watch it. I'd love it if you did. I still get views on it every once in a while. It's like a year and a half old now. But basically, I'd love to see Firefight expanded upon, like a true Firefight 3.0. Reach's Firefight was called Firefight 2.0, where there are more objectives, there are more modifiers that you get. Like I have no problem with like the skulls continuing to be like what the modifiers are, but introduce a whole new slew of skulls that never need to exist in a campaign. That are things that are just like, hey, if you stub your left toe, now you fly. Like that kind of weird, wacky shit. Like stuff that doesn't have to make sense canonically like it does in campaign, right? Because even those skulls have some groundedness to them. I would just love some wacky, crazy modifiers for an intense PvE game mode that have some objectives. Go and deposit this core to open up the next area of this big map. Go fight this boss, come back. Like I would love objective-based firefight modes in Infinite. I think Infinite Sandbox would more than support it. I mean, oh my god, man, I could go on about this for hours. But like, you want to get me playing this game non-fucking stop? That's how you do it.
And just
Give me
make a good,
objective-based firefight, horde mode, endless waves, hard difficulty, all of that.
Yeah, you
Well,
can
and
have
that's-
one guy hacking something or, doing something with a panel.
Right.
Just like with the caves, with the loot caves in the multiplayer, and then have the other guys, the other people having their back covering them as you're just getting waves after waves. Yeah, that would be awesome.
well,
Real
I think
quick,
the unlimited waves
Mort
is the
asked
key.
when do we think we'll get Firefight?
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna give my
Probably
2
a
cents
long
on
way.
that. I'm thinking season 6 is the earliest.
Yeah.
So that would be November.
down the road.
No.
That would
what?
be early next year.
Yeah, that'd be like February or something, right?
Yeah.
Because if
it's
season
probably-
4 is, we already have the date. It's like June 25th or something like that. And then add 4 months for season 5, 4 more months. Yeah, it'd be like February
We're
next year.
getting
So about a
season
year
4
from
in
now.
June.
Yeah, they're gonna be coming pretty quick. Once they, if assuming they keep the same
Yeah, I mean
3 to
every
4
3
month
months.
cadence. Yeah.
So March for season 3, and then that would put us at what, June for season 4.
Yeah,
Season
we already know the
5
date
would
technically.
be October, and then season
Yeah.
6 would be January.
Yeah, so basically a year from today, which isn't bad. That's not too bad.
Well, if they can
Again,
but
release it at 90% done. I'll fucking take
Yeah,
it. I'll
yeah.
take it.
I was gonna
Straight
say
up.
the exact
Give me a
same
straight
thing.
up.
Oh
Right in
man,
there,
and then
yeah.
just like keep adding features, add new maps, add new modes. Give me Firefight.
well,
But
and I
if-
think.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, go ahead. So
No, I'm saying if they release Infection Season 4, let's just assume they are, right? That's a big mode. That's a big return to form. And they're releasing Firefight Season 6. What they got planned for Season 5? You know what I'm saying? Are they going to keep the momentum up? Or is it going to be more of like a quieter thing? I mean,
Winter Update 2.0.
well,
No,
I mean
I
they
mean,
have a lot of
I-
stuff in the pipeline now, right? Like that's the one
Tatanka.
thing. This.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
There
think
you go,
Tatanka's a
maybe.
long ways away. To be
yeah,
honest with
straight
you.
up.
That's
I
just
don't
my
even need it,
opinion.
man. If it's Unreal, they can take their time. It's okay. Keep giving me more Infinite stuff for now.
Well, so like we know they got a lot of stuff in the pipeline. I do think they're going to be able to deliver on the 3-month thing now, because I'll say it's not because I know a lot of people will probably listen to that and be like, "Well, you got confidence in 343." Not necessarily. I have confidence that Microsoft's kind of learned some lessons in the last few years on under promising, and I think that we're just starting to see that trend. I think the reason why they waited this 10 months was so that they could start to sandbag some things. So
Yeah.
I think there might even be some things that could be ready that won't come out. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Infection, why I think it is a season 4. I think there is just things that are going to be in their pipeline that they're going to just, you can't just release everything you have every time, because then you get stuck. You basically live in check to check again.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you that's what I think is going to happen. That's where I would set my expectations. If we get better than that, great. But I think that's where I would set my expectations for now. On the Firefight thing, though, Mike, you might be able to relate to this a little bit with me because you're like one of the old people like me. Everybody else here is a lot younger than us. But you know, sometimes I think less is more with these things. Like I thought 343 over-engineered Firefight in Halo 5 to the point where it just wasn't it didn't have a lot of longevity to me. Like it basically, you experienced it a few times. You're like, okay, I'm good. Because it was just so scripted and it was limited. You didn't have that many waves. Like the wave-based gameplay to me, like I remember when ODST came out, it felt almost like an arcade mode, right? Like, isn't that how we played Atari games? It was like you clear one board, here comes a new one. It's a more difficult one. You clear that, and you just I mean, we played like Pac-Man and Defender until our controllers like freaking broke, right? And you
Trying to
just
get the high
played,
score.
yeah, it was just you try to get better and better, and I think that's what they need. They need to make sure that this is almost. Pun
They need
intended,
something that's an
infinite.
addictive loop. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you're constantly trying to go for that next high score or something.
And
You're constantly
honestly,
trying to achieve something.
I would love to have both ends of that firefight design, because I would love to have objective-based firefight to mix it up, add a new spin to it. But I would also love to have just, I guess, classic firefight.
Totally.
That's just an unlimited endurance run.
Well, so in my mind, just to add to that, the objective based thing is a very advanced idea. I don't know that Halo Infinite itself could handle. I don't know enough about its game development or anything like that to say for certain. But the idea being that these objectives are randomly selected and go for as long as you survive. This would be an objective based thing that you just kind of bounce around on this large map back and forth that will continue to go on for as many hours as you can survive in that match. I also respect the idea that like I just want to kill things in an arena, like the Plaza map where you can like hop into a Warthog and just run over brutes for hours on end.
Yeah.
Best experience in that game, man.
Yeah, I'll agree. I haven't played Firefight much, but the few times I did, you get like quadra kill, overkills all the time.
And I like the way
and
that
feels
ODST
amazing.
in the MCC handles it. Like you can matchmake Firefight in the MCC, and it will only let you play so many rounds. Cool. That was a game. That's understandable. Here's a 20-minute commitment That way, it's not like, hey, we've been going for 3 hours. I gotta go cook my kids dinner, man. Like, I can't keep playing. So people aren't feeling bad about dropping out, not getting the XP for the match or whatever. But I think that there are multiple experiences that you can build out just by giving players the option for Firefight. Like the multiplayer is already a very fun loop for PvP fans. I think Halo lends itself incredibly well to PvE. There's a reason why those campaigns are always heralded, including Infinites. I think that Halo's PvE side needs something similar.
So,
absolutely, especially without campaign, right? Like that needs that. That's,
right.
That's where that's the closest we're going to get to.
Peace. So, okay, I haven't played Firefight in Halo 5. How did they handle it there? Because in both Reach and
it was
ODST,
Warzone Firefight. From what
you don't really care.
Oh,
it's a bunch of rec packs.
Maybe I did.
No, that being said,
I've
talked to a lot of people who've played Halo 5 a lot, especially a friend who got into the series when Halo 5 was here. They really liked Warzone Firefight. They played it a lot.
It was a great way to rank up and get to 152.
Yep, that's for sure. That's going to get rec packs too, from what I heard.
So, but Reach and ODST had campaign levels, and Reach already had campaign levels that were in the multiplayer in general, whereas ODST had like modified campaign portions
Spaces,
for
yeah.
How do you guys think that they're going to handle it in Infinite? Are they going to separate maps entirely?
I put up the link
up
for one of the big team battle maps up engine, and yeah, this is a beautiful screenshot.
So in my head, the way that they would do it would be a mixture of campaign spaces, because like the obvious thing, and like one of the leaks reports that the first Firefight map that's in the game right now is just the
is that a Halo?
Oh my god, it's
the fort?
It's the like next to last mission where you are
road?
just like
the one that I called House.
You know
of
the
Pain.
House of Pain?
No, not the House of Pain. I don't think it's House of Pain.
Oh.
I can't remember. Hold on a minute. God damn it. It's like the last right before you fight the elite with the sword and
okay.
Yeah,
So
House of
That's House of Pain.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
I don't remember that being right.
Anyway, it's basically Firefight.
Arena. Where it's like the 3 floors you go through.
Yeah.
But it's like a modified version of that. I would be cool with them repurposing some campaign spaces. I would love completely new dedicated maps, kind of like some of the leak maps that we've seen that are like all of these brand new biomes and brand new locations, not even necessarily on the Halo ring. I would hope that they do both, repurpose some campaign spaces, put them in some of the strongholds or whatever they were called in the campaign. You know what I'm talking about, the bases,
The forts, right?
Yeah. And then dedicated big scale maps for it.
I would love to see banished locations. Like give us
Right.
more, because I know we're not going to get like the Purple Covenant, and that makes sense. Give me
We
some
might.
red. Well, I mean, I
Never
wouldn't
say never.
complain, but it'd be great to have more banished locations and maps, because everything's
One
very
thing-
And like give it its own
human
progression, give it its
or-
own challenges, encourage PvP players to come and play it.
Yeah, you just got to find some hooks, and that's the one thing I think.
Sorry, Mike, I didn't mean to cut you off, man.
No, you're good.
That's what we do here. We cut each other off.
I love
Sorry, I like it a lot. Man, but that is one of the areas that I think 343 has, needs to kind of find their footing on, is that progression, the hooks, the coming back. The challenge modes suck, so hopefully we'll be signing off to those here soon. Real quick, I don't know if we wanted to move forward. There was a couple other things that we didn't really touch on. They're just some one-offs here. Do you want to say anything else about Firefight? I know you do, Austin. Anybody else want to say anything else about Firefight before we kind of move on to just a couple of things, and then we'll get to the community question?
I'm ready for it. That's all I want. That's all I want to say.
if Tatanka really got rebooted, which we don't know if it is or isn't, if it got moved to Unreal, if it's now 3-4 years out, then Firefight becomes that next bullet in the chamber. Not as big of a bullet as Tatanka was, but it's the next one in there. And it's another chance for them to gain some of the player base they lost from launch. Not all of it, not even close to all of it. But as long as it's well made, as long as it has progression set up, as long as it's getting updated, with maps every couple of months, you know what I mean, and new enemies and blah blah blah, then yeah, I think it's something that could really revitalize the game, especially from a crowd that isn't super sweaty. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing, because right now it is really difficult to bring back newbies, right? Like, when we started this game, or when we started this game, when Halo Infinite first launched, and all of our friends jumped on, and we had parties of 12, 10, 12, getting in there in big team battle, like. It was so much damn fun, and you had people of all skill levels in there. You had people that were really, really, really new. Like they, the Halo wasn't their thing, but they were having fun, kind of screwing around in the sandbox. They can't come back now because it's all sweaties that are left, right? That are left in this game for the most part. And I think that Halo does need to figure out how to lower that floor to bring people in.
By the way, for anyone wondering, this the community playlist. The skill-based matchmaking is either turned off or very low. Like you'll play this and suddenly you'll be stomping people without even realizing. But
either stomped or getting stomped is how it seemed like the last time I played.
Yep, which is that's what everyone wants, right? They want that back. Ugh. There's a balance. There's a balance. Okay. Halo 3
lets you know how good you really are when they turn off matchmaking. Then you like, how often am I getting stomped versus stomping people?
Yeah, straight up.
But I think you're on the right path, and I was rambling there. So I think I'm done. Anything else, you guys, before we?
No. Firefight is a big potential. Take your time with it. Don't rush it out. Don't wait till it's 100% either. But just
give us the Firefight stuff in Forge. Mix in Forge with Firefight. So and even if we didn't get an objective based one, we can make it ourselves.
And you know what, dude? Don't rely only on campaign for enemy types. How cool would it be if 2 years from now you got like Flood or even Prometheans or something? I don't know, like something else in there.
Why wait 2 years? You don't need to wait 2 years for.
Well, for the sequel that's now coming out.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest disappointments with with no potential sequels.
I really don't
so
want them
bad to see the Flood on this ring.
Straight up, right? I don't want them to just move on from Infinite. I know the player base isn't that amazing, but it's not dead. All right. Like it's still there. It has the potential to go back up. I really don't want them to move on. And I'll be honest, I don't need another Halo multiplayer even 5 years from now. Keep Infinite going, keep that foundation going, make it the platform you said you wanted it to be, and stick with it. Is my personal hope.
And that was my thought that I forgot a minute ago. I think you have to before they ever do move from Infinite, whether that's Tatanka and they start moving everybody over there and they basically turn this into MCC. I think you have to make sure you hit all the foundational items, the things that people love in past Halos that they kind of expect. And I get it. It's a bigger game. It's a more difficult these days, new engine, blah, blah, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think the thing people, there's things people are used to. They're used to Infection. They're used to custom playing the custom games and it working. They're used to, it's Firefight. And so I think they really need to go through that checklist. Because as we kind of step back, you kind of realize, man, there is so many things that we've experienced in previous Halos that we loved that aren't here right now. And it feels like they're starting to come back piece by piece, whether it's maybe getting closer to the Reach armor system. We need to get a regular progression. So people know.
I do think that, especially people waiting for a new Halo game or something, it's the days of a game launching with every single thing the predecessor had are over, in my opinion. I know not everyone agrees with that, but in my opinion, it's like launching a new MMO. It's not going to have every single feature of the previous MMO, that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that people I don't know how to phrase this, but in general, let Infinite build it up from the ground up, right? Sorry, not from the ground. Let Infinite build it up piece by piece. And once it's there, stick with it, support it.
And then release a sequel.
And then release a sequel that has
less
a
features
quarter
again.
of the thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in going backwards, but at the end of the day, going forward, plan to bring all that stuff, right?
I think it depends on what their plans are with, not to crack open this can of worms, but I think it does depend on how they want to sustain Halo as a franchise going forward. Do they want to stay on slip space? Do they want to switch engines? Do they, I think if they switch engines, then Infinite has to have sort of a shelf life.
Well, yeah.
What if they only do campaign? What if they keep Infinite as a multiplayer?
I will say, regardless, again, if they were to move the next campaign to a different engine, the game feel difference between the two, I think will be too great for them to be separate, but one product.
Yeah, I think if they move to Unreal, that's when they basically
all of it has to.
Yeah, they treat Infinite like another MCC, and they they keep the lights on, maintenance enough for that, and then they do everything. Plus, because one of the biggest benefits or selling points of switching to Unreal is to increase the efficiency of the production pipeline. So that's going to benefit multiplayer far more than the campaign, where usually you're given more leeway in development time in terms of, but once you get the multiplayer out, you want to hit the ground running, and that's where Unreal is going to benefit you more. So it doesn't make sense to lock away the multiplayer from Unreal, and not taking advantage of that benefit. Real quick, going back to the leaked footage and everything of the maps, I meant to say this earlier. I'm hoping that's a hint that they actually fixed or improved the theater mode, because they're actually moving through those maps pretty well, unless that's just like a PC.
I'll be honest, I experimented
camera.
with theater
So
mode a few days ago. It worked well for me.
If you go back and watch, you can see the Forge monitor shadow.
Okay.
Oh, so that is Forge. That makes sense.
Okay. So there was a couple other things. So you guys mentioned MCC, so let me use this as a transition. So I heard this, and Mint Blitz did a little summary. I was listening to him, and I wasn't really familiar with this because I didn't mess around with mods, and I don't mess around on the PC for Halo right now. Like, I'm pretty much console guy. But on the PC side, we've seen some really, really cool mods, campaign mods for MCC. What just happened? What did I miss?
Soul's placeholder image is Jesse.
Wow,
hi, Jesse.
Wow. that is awkward, and I don't know.
Oh God, I thought that was so funny. I was
that
like,
is so great.
He's
made it.
Why was the picture Jesse?
Sorry, I started.
Oh man,
My brother needed my Xbox for a bit. So
I straight up thought Jesse was joining. I was like, "Oh, what's up, Jesse?"
Yeah.
He just took over Soul's body. That was interesting.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, I lost my train of thought. Oh, let's go back to that. So one of the things Mint Blitz called out was the campaign mode, the mods, the on and off mode that basically allowed them to do campaign mods. And I guess now it seems like this is going to have a similar option, is what he was kind of speculating about.
The anti-cheat?
Yeah, with the anti-cheat.
Yeah, that's actually really big news, especially after we just had an interview where they said, no, they're not really working on adding a specific anti-cheat they were talking about. Face it? Something like that. I don't know.
I think that depends on whether or not they have both. What does MCC have?
God damn it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy
I think that depends
cheat.
on what. I wonder if they have both Easy and Arbiter, which is their current one. If they have both, then I don't see them allowing modifications of the campaign. But if they remove Arbiter completely,
well, I think they've been happy with the way that Easy's worked for MCC. I think that they chose and built Arbiter around Infinite earlier in development than Easy came to MCC. Mm-hmm. If they do switch over, though, like, what a great opportunity for modders to get in and get to familiarize themselves with the engine. That could even open up the community to building content and features for the game that is sanctioned by 343 to end up in the full product.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually Mike, have you seen any of the ones that have been out there for MCC? Because there's been some crazy shit that just looks like a lot of fun just to jump into and play.
Not
I haven't experienced it. Okay.
The mod scene from MCC that I paid most attention to is bringing back the unfinished classic stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Halo 2 demo and the CE content and stuff like that.
Like, perfect opportunity.
What just
we
happened?
know there's. What do you mean? What just happened? So.
Oh, you said here we go.
Oh, okay.
They probably thought I was going to go on a rant.
No. Yeah, it's like, oh shit! Like I can feel it. I can feel Mike. Mike is he's thinking about the unfinished launch of Halo Infinite. But no, but there are, like, let's just speak honestly on it. Like you can see, we already know they cut a lot of stuff, and that happens on a lot of development, but I think they cut even more with Halo Infinite than normal. And they cut it in a way that they didn't really even hide it. Like usually when content is cut in a game, you can't tell, you never know, right?
Yeah.
But when you play Halo Infinite, you can see where, there probably was a whole nother area over there that they meant to do something with that they never did.
Well, there's literally a whole other fucking island that one mission is on, and you never go back to it.
Yeah.
Right. So there's so much. Like I think there's actually really great opportunity, and you see that we see like on Xbox right now, Skyrim is still in the top 50. Well, it's one of the most played single player only games today, many years later. And the reason is that the mods that the community makes, people actually download them and they replay that game over and over again. I think Halo Infinite, we've all agreed when we did a show, Mike, that before we brought you back from the injury reserve, where we rated all the aspects of Halo Infinite, and with all the opportunities, the sandbox, the gameplay is top tier. And I think it really, like, especially if we start adding new weapons in there and new vehicles in there, you start to, maybe you do have the flood in the Forge soon.
Give me my Scarab. Give me my Scarab in that open world, and I will be happy.
People are creating some crazy, like, I was looking at some of the mods, and it's like they're coming up with some amazing things that I saw in video that, again, I haven't experienced them. I need to try them out, but I think that's an under the radar or underrated thing that I'm not saying it's going to Skyrim this game, but it could really add a lot of replayability. And I don't know that it's going to ever replace a full campaign.
How easy is it to open up
it's-
mods on MCC on console? Though? I figured there was still a bit of a process.
On console, you can't.
You can't. Period. Right?
Yeah.
Is that something they can do?
At least regarding the cut, like the classic cut campaign stuff, they said that they can't guarantee anything for console. Currently, it's guaranteed for PC or targeting PC, but they didn't rule out console, from what I understand. But see, that's the thing. What they need to do,
implementing like Steam Workshop support, which is great. Like that's a great platform, but 343 needs a pipipeline in order to take fan created content. Yeah, I'm so sorry, Mike. I'm so bad about it today, man. But like to build out that pipeline to allow that content to arrive in official builds.
That's one of the benefits of Skyrim on console. It's not completely open to mods, but it has a healthy mod store built into the game. They need something like
which
that.
Which is still, by the way, a little hard to navigate. Like, it's not the best UI, I'll be honest.
It worked out okay with me, but I didn't go completely nuts when it came to mods in Skyrim.
And the issue with Infinite is it has to be, whatever the hell they're doing, it has to be console-centric. Because the game is, not to use the term dead, but it's not a healthy player base on PC at all. You know what I mean? Like, it has to be console-centric.
That's where... But see, that's where it comes to creating that kind of store or menu system.
Yeah.
And we all know what kind of mess Infinite's menus are.
Yeah.
So I'm not optimistic at all.
But at the same time, this is the first thing you said, mods in Halo Infinite. The first thing I thought was, cut the damn Xbox One out, right? And see what you can do without it. Right?
Yes, please.
Could you imagine they cut out the Xbox One and you just load up on just people just throwing all kinds of crazy, like we didn't get that big water cooler battle like the things that we're used to.
I'd say the closest we got to a water cooler battle was that. Is it called the
Soul
Road?
thinks it's funny.
Yeah, the road was fun. No, it's definitely the first level. That's the big water cooler moment to start the game off.
Where you open up the
escape.
Yeah, that's
the Garbagon escape with the grappling hook with the music playing. Probably the best track in the game too. It definitely is. It's not at the same level as obviously the escapes in Halo 1 and 3. No, not close. Actually, Halo 1 escape is kind of just driving forward.
You're talking about the first campaign mission where you're on the ship?
Yeah, where you're escaping with everything collapsing around you and your grappling hook left and right.
I don't know about all that, man.
Nah. I'd say the closest thing to a water cooler in the beginning is when you open to the open world, kind of the vault moment.
I meant more like a singular 2-3 minute like moment that like is kind of cool and fun to play.
Like a Michael Bay moment?
Yeah, basically. Like a big set piece, right?
Yeah. I mean,
well, in Halo's endgame set pieces in the past felt more like they were throwing you in
more
the middle of the
systematic.
cutscene. Yeah, right. It was dynamic. It was like dropping on the silent cartographer, which back in the
Or-
day, like that was a lot of
That's
enemies.
pretty normal.
Walking
Coming out.
walking out of the Bumblebee on the second level, getting to see the ring for the very first time.
Yeah.
Like even that, I don't think that Infinite nails that as well as CE does, but I do think it's a comparable moment. I do think it's just as satisfying in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't know that any Halo game will ever be able to hit that same level for me because it was so new.
Yeah.
But like, man, I think that talking about these mods and stuff, there's an MCC modder who goes by the name of Kashiera, and she is currently finishing up. I say finishing up. I say she's probably a third or about halfway through porting all of Halo 1's campaign into Halo 3 and doing an insanely good job of it. Like creating some original assets. We're using Halo 3 campaign assets where it makes sense, which is surprisingly most of the campaign. But she's done some incredibly cool stuff.
What was the name again?
Her name is Kashiera, Kashiera. Should pull it up, but I think there's like 3 I's in the middle of it.
Oh yeah. I see here. Interesting.
And she documents it all on Twitter. It's very cool. The reason I bring this up is because I think Infinite's engine would support somehow somebody who's talented and dedicated enough to rebuild previous Halo campaigns in Infinite's engine.
Amazing.
Its infrastructure would definitely support it. I think the sandbox would be an interesting way to interpret any of those campaigns.
Halo 3 needs its remake, right?
I mean, no shit, man. Like,
I don't know. Maybe like increase character models. Like that's it. Environments and textures and everything to me still look.
oh, I think it looks great.
enough.
I think it's aged incredibly well considering it is a 15-year-old game at this point.
Jesus.
All right.
That's such.
But yeah,
All right.
Halo Infinite mods would be really cool if they can get it working.
So we'll have to keep digging on that. I think I think those are some things we can come back in the future. Maybe we'll find out more information.
Yeah,
But
everyone watching
this
this
work
her
right
videos, Kashiera's videos. This is, I guess, Truth and Reconciliation.
This is what she's
And
been
Halo
working
3.
on a lot right now. God, it looks so good.
This
And
looks so
she's
much
done-
better than Halo
She's
Remaster.
done other
I know.
levels already.
That's the thing, though. Like some of these mods are just like then you compare them to the Halo CE remaster, and it's just like, wah, wah.
That was the issue with
What a
CE
fucking
Remaster.
wet noodle of a launch
Yeah.
of a game that is, dude.
That was everything to do with the art side and little to do on the
It was
tech
Saber.
side.
It was Saber.
Yeah, it was
100%.
Saber.
Yeah, and to be
But
fair,
they-
they learned their lessons in Halo
No,
2
yeah,
Anniversary.
that's the
is
thing. They nailed it with
phenomenal.
Halo 2. Halo
Yeah.
2
They
was a
did.
Yeah.
great remaster.
Well,
So
and
please,
some
get them
of
on
that-
Halo
I
3.
think some of that is actually probably direction from 343. I think that the project.
Wouldn't
I think that the
surprise me.
project start date and the project end date are much closer together than we realized they were.
Well, do you guys
I think
remember the
343 was
original
like, oh,
Master
shit.
Chief in the original announcement trailer for
I
CE
loved
Remaster?
that. I loved that. It looked so dumb. I loved it.
It almost looked like they were trying to mimic the original Master
Like the
Chief
Mac
from
World
the Mac. Yeah,
reveal.
Oh my god!
I was
That's
like,
how it looked.
is this like a creative interpretation? Can I turn this off?
okay.
The
Oh, that's
assault
cool. They're
rifle
doing a
is like
classic,
the Reach
classic
assault
look.
rifle. Like it is like I cannot believe they showed it off and they showed it off. It was
Oh, I
not
know.
ready to be seen
No,
yet.
not at all. Not at all. I was half expecting him to pull out the flamethrower.
He pulls
So,
out the bungee flag and just waves it around.
God.
Let's see. I think the only other note that I think we missed out of all the things I have here. So water is coming to Forge. I think that's something that's leaked out there, but
Yeah.
they've already talked about that. And it looks like you'll be able to put a lot of water, so you might be able to have some.
Yeah, it
4,000 by
scales up to
4,000.
4,000 by 4,000, which
Don't know
is
what that means, but
it's about a quarter of the size of the Forge
So
canvas.
what
Okay,
this
that's a good
means
one.
is you're going to have Blood Wake eventually. We're going to recreate Blood. We're going to get some vehicles and
couldn't you
drive
put
them
more
on
than
the line.
one? water item.
means-
And
I imagine
Water
so.
World in Halo, ladies and gentlemen.
bro, you mean like ship battle? Someone make like a goddamn.
I'm just really hoping that it has physics.
Yes,
And if this doesn't, then maybe eventually it does.
Yeah,
But-
without,
That's the main thing.
all right.
But yeah, cool. Water's coming
wait-
forward, so people don't have to
just one more thing on my
script their own
notes.
water.
I think we hit everything else in my notes except
Yeah.
that one. A lot of little disparate items this week. I still think it's. I think the theme of the week is there's still a lot of potential, a lot of things going on, and maybe season 4 isn't the end. So we do have one question, a community question. Do you have that up, Soul? If not,
I do indeed.
All right, go
Sorry, I
ahead.
gotta change it from community questions to community question. And
I don't know why I laughed so hard at that, but
it is by Mort. Hello, Spartans. How would you react if Halo Infinite started doing more crossovers like some of the other Xbox games like Sea of Thieves is doing? Which I'll play in a minute. Should they lean into this in the future? I'm thinking things like a Gears armor set would be cool, but also to go outside of Xbox and start doing some weird things maybe. It's a free-play skin shop after all. Might as well lean into the BS. Hugs, Mort.
Oh, he did this
give
for
me
Mike.
cat ears, give me death. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
I'm gonna bow out of this conversation.
Mike just wants to say, let me turn it off. Is all he's
Yeah,
going to
just let me.
say.
I mean,
you know
and
what?
that's
Go
fair.
balls to the walls. Just let me turn it off. Just let me turn it off on my end.
I think that is super fair. I think do whatever stupid promotions you want to do. Like put the Fortnite dude or whatever in Halo. I don't care, but give me an option to not have to look at that stupid stuff. I will say I would love a slider. Let me see cat ears, but don't let me see Jigsaw from Saw.
That's funny.
I just want to teabag Mike with a conquer tail on.
Dude, if I could have Kazooie in my Spartan's backpack, done deal. $30 on that.
Oh my god!
So I feel like I'm gonna, if we're taking the question seriously, no slider, no turning off thing. That takes away from the entire thing, in my opinion. Just keep things relatively Halo looking. You know what I mean by that? Even the cat
they
ears
already
look like they're
screwed up on that.
No. Even everything right now, other than maybe the neon effects, are still Halo looking. You know what I mean? Cat
I
ears
was gonna
are a
say,
metal
one of-
attachment, or
One of the leaks is turning your Spartan into a Times Square sign. Having
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a visor effect that gives you giant sunglasses.
oh yes. I
or
didn't see that. I
a
didn't
shoulder
see that.
pad that puts you can put an advertisement on it.
Well, at
I'm
the
not
same
saying it
time,
does. I'm just joking. But
it's still
it's-
kind of in the Halo universe. You know what I mean? In the terms of it being some hologram.
I think they should
hologram
go
that's on
free.
you. It's not like a Steam mask.
I'm going to support you. Number one, I just like to see how mad Mike gets.
I want to get the backpack.
But so here's the advantage. If they did allow you to have a slider to turn it on and off, then you could get crazy. You could do crazy, stupid things. And I do think that for a lot of people, that is one of the things that drives a lot of people to Fortnite. It is the characters. It is the fact they can go really nuts.
You know what? If you don't want to do a slider, how about this? Let's meet 50-50, and you just make a classic playlist where it has true red versus blue. There's no outlines or anything like that. There's no skins. Just give me my classic play. Give me one little playlist, and then
get off Mike's
Mike-
like lawn.
Mike,
then you can have
I
the
was
rest
with
of the
you
game to have your
when you
cattails
said-
and ears and
I for a split second, which is funny because this has never been my reaction to this conversation. I was like, go play the NCC, man. I was like, ah, shit. No, that is hey, you damn kids.
yeah, but I want the new
I'll be honest,
mechanics. I would like the maps. There's plenty that I love about.
Of
Infinite.
course.
I
don't
want to
wanna
have
look at
Dan.
the dumb Google
I want to have
And
dance
here's the thing,
moves.
Here's the thing. I'm not even completely against the outlines and stuff. I wish they would tweak it where you only saw your teammates and not your enemies.
Yeah.
There's, but I've been saying that since launch. Where there's
You can
plenty of
remove
things-
outlines now, pretty much completely. They did add that in.
Yeah,
a
but
little later.
I'm not going to put myself at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
If I can
that's
tweak
true.
it so it's only the teammates, then
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
to be honest, I feel like that's actually one of Infinite's biggest strengths. is the fact that customization is customization. Like for a first-person game, you can actually see your armor, other people's armor more often than otherwise. You kill people, the loading screen entry, blah blah blah. I think it's just because of the fact they removed red versus blue, but it really feels like Infinite is the game where I've seen players express themselves more than any other Halo game.
Give me emotes.
Emotes.
Give me emotes.
Anorexic just mentioned that.
Let me like Fortnite dance on my homies or whatever.
God, no, that's
Let me-
right.
I just
right.
want
Would
to.
you
We
mind?
want to grind.
If
I want to get the conquer tail and then
Fortnite
grind on Mike's.
If they give us
Spartan.
emotes instead of assassinations, I swear to God.
So did you see, Mike? Did you see this conversation on Twitter the other day? There is an animator who said that they would have to re-rig all of the Spartan models because the multiplayer models don't support anything like assassinations in previous Halo games.
Then why did they say that it was coming later or something? They said that.
So what they
It's
said
easier to
assassinations was
just say, "Oh, maybe we'll get to
no,
it."
that's not what they said. They said assassinations are something they didn't want to put in the game because people just get rid of them, like they don't do them. Which I guess is more of a competitive thing. They said they're looking into doing something like it maybe in the future.
I thought there was some kind of talk about adding it later because it was an optional thing.
Yeah, you could
They-
turn it off
they
in Halo
talked-
5.
They
I turned
talked
it
about
off.
like, oh, we've heard the fan feedback. We know you guys want it. And we'll look into seeing what we can do about it. And apparently, the looking into it was, "Fuck it, we can't."
Yeah.
They looked in. They did. They looked.
Halo 5 had some really cool assassinations, I'm not gonna lie.
They did.
really
I liked
terrible.
watching other people's, but I turned them off because it put
Could
you.
you imagine being a dude
get killed
who
while you're-
loves
Yeah, straight up.
Halo
Or get
5's
yoinked.
customization so much that you spend hundreds of dollars to unlock every like assassination and being like, "Oh man, I can't wait to see what new assassinations come in Infinite," and then it's just not there?
No, screw that, dude. Don't have expectations for games which haven't released yet. That's just stupid. That's just stupid. Screw that, dude.
Just don't have expectations for Halo. You can have
Bro,
expectations
that's like
for
saying
other
I bought
games, but don't
every
have
armor
expectations
pack
for
in
games.
Warzone, period. What the heck? I can't use any of them in Warzone 2? Nah, bro, it's a new game. It's a new game.
No,
You
no,
out.
I'm
These
not
kids-
saying-
You out.
I'm not saying that.
These kids just don't hold them accountable.
Any of
That's
that
why we're
shit-
screwed,
No,
Mike.
no.
That's why we're screwed.
Oh, man.
They're happy to pay more for less. No.
I don't know. I do think Halo Infinite, at least so far, has
But Mike,
for the
it's
most
free to
part,
play.
written this line where it's still Halo. Like the samurai armor is still Halo. Even the new Chimera core, yeah, it's out of Crisis. It still looks like
Yeah.
it's in Halo.
Yeah. Those
Which I'm
those
cool with
look
that.
great.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. If that's as far as they went, then
I am
my
surprised that
old
they
man
came
yelling at the
out
clouds would be
like,
okay.
big dick swinging about the samurai armor, though.
Oh man.
What a departure. They're like, yeah, we're going to do like occasionally, we're going to introduce new cores that are a little bit of a departure. We're going to call them fractures. They're not canon. Samurai, motherfuckers.
Yep, right off the bat. Right off the bat.
I mean, it was shown off so well in that trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It looked so cool. And unfortunately, you got to pay for it all.
You know what it is? Well, no, they ended up going back on that. Got it for free. But Mike, you know what?
I mean, you got the core for free. But
no,
the
no,
cool
and you got
helmet in the
the
trailer,
no, you got the cool helmet for free. They went back on that.
I don't have the cool helmet.
It was in the battle pass, the free one.
Well,
Both
The
helmets
winter
were
one?
in the battle pass. Yeah, both the samurai one and the yokai, the demon one, were both in the battle pass. I didn't spend a cent on samurai, and I have both of them. So you definitely got them for
I
free.
pay no attention to battle passes. So
But
I
I was gonna say, Mike, you know what happens is when the event first happens, people switch over to it. Like I was playing a few weeks ago, and man, every damn person had the Santa hat on. It doesn't even look good, but everyone had it on.
I love
I'm playing
it.
more
I'm so bummed
nowadays.
out I didn't get
I'm
it.
playing more nowadays, and no one has it on anymore. So it's kind of like this like temporary thing. I want to say.
It's
So,
like a
who knows?
zeitgeisty thing. Like
Sometimes.
everyone thinks
Mhm.
about it, so they want it on, and then okay,
It's cool
all
until
good.
everybody else is
Like
doing
the-
it.
the-
Until
the
every
Pepsi
other every other person at the dance is wearing the same thing. you
Yeah,
are.
dude, it is the modern Hayabusa armor. You can go fuck yourself.
It's like the Pepsi Samurais. You know what I mean? Those were all the rage for a while.
All right, guys. I think we covered everything.
Did we answer
Sure.
Mort's question?
Yeah, we answered.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
as good as we're gonna get. That's as,
Real quick.
That's as good as
look,
you're gonna get.
We just
Mort.
got a new
Sorry.
question.
Oh, okay.
Real
What's the new
quick, I
question?
forget where I saw it, but there was one of the Twitter people talking about ray tracing and stuff coming and
Yeah, so we knew there was ray tracing shadows are
That's-
coming in season 3. I don't.
Oh,
know
that's
if
season
they-
3.
If they said
Okay.
Xbox though, is it coming to Xbox too?
I believe we
I thought it was
don't know
PC.
yet. It
I
was shown
got
off
the impression
at
it
an AMD,
AMD.
event.
yeah. I mean, it's
So,
the shadows, It
but
looks
like
better,
AMD graphic architecture in the Xbox consoles, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if anything, hopefully they add it to the 30 frame per second mode. I mean, I'll never play it,
There's a
but it'd be
30.
cool to check
There's
out.
no 30 frame per second mode.
now there is
There used to
ray
be.
tracing
No,
shadows.
no.
they
There's no
take it out?
30. There's no 30
In
frame per
Infinite?
second mode in Infinite. Not
there
for the
is.
Xbox Series consoles. It's either 60
Yeah.
or 120. I'm pretty sure.
No, there used to be.
You sure?
I guarantee there's a locked 4K 30.
Yeah.
Really? You know what there probably is.
It had frame pacing issues and was.
I went to a friend's place
Stuttery.
recently, and they were playing Halo Infinite on their One X, and it was a choppy mess. I'm like, dude, why are you playing on 30? He's like, it's not 30, man. It's
Now you're
60.
making me wonder
You're
if
just
I'm
used
on
to 120. And then I press start, change it. There is no visual change. There was not a single visual change. The FPS just went from 30 to 60, and it was smooth as butter. Don't play 30. What are you doing?
No. Yeah. Hey, so go ahead and
Let me
read
go
the
through
last
second
question.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's from Metroidfan. With Age of Empires 2 console port receiving a ton of positivity from the game's media, what are the chances that Halo Wars 3 actually happens? Is there anything Halo Wars can learn from Age of Empires?
It's not happening.
Respawn, let's see.
At the end of the day, it just comes down to sales, right? So,
Yeah.
Or engagement. And I don't think, unfortunately, as much as some people really did love Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2, it tried a middle ground. And I think like whenever you try to do that, you just basically lose both sides of the aisle, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In gaming a lot of times. And it was a really good game. It had some good cutscenes. But generally people who like RTSs want more depth. I think what Age does show is, because I've only experimented with some of the tutorial on console, but a lot of people on my friends list have been playing the heck out of that game, which is shocking to me because these are console people. They're not former PC guys. People who played a lot of RTSs in the past, and they're really kind of getting into it. So I think when you try things like this in the future, you have to be authentic to that. What that base, what makes it when you try to mainstream it to get that other audience without making sure you've captured the true base of that, then I think you lose everybody. You don't get the zeitgeist and the excitement that you would get from people that really like that genre. I think Halo could have been, if they would have gone as deep as Age of Empires, it could have been a really great RTS because it has all the balancing, it has a lot of different vehicles and characters, and it really is perfect for that genre.
Like,
But
there's a reason Halo. I liked that AoE 4 didn't release on console at launch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Focus on that PC, got that depth, got that everything, and then
Figure out the
later do what you do.
controls.
Yeah.
And they did. I'm hearing great things about AoE.
Dude, Age of
2.
Empires 2, I played hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours of H2 throughout my life. I popped on console, and man, it's there. Like, they even have stuff to be able to automate things. I'm like, nah, I ain't automating anything. Like, I'm controlling my villagers one by one, right? And it's all there. I didn't even play through the tutorial. I just kind of just went through, experimented a bit, figured out what to do. It's really cool. I'm not going to play H2 on console because I already played it a lot. But when H4 comes, I can definitely see myself playing through the campaigns there.
Yeah.
Real quick,
you
were right, Aarsal. There is a quality mode, but it's 60 on Series X. Series S does have a 30 frame per second mode. That
makes sense.
We were all right.
Yeah.
It was just bugging me. I'm sorry. Go on. Age of Empire.
You know what's when I think
Halo
of Halo
Wars.
Wars, I think of the fact that I loved Age of Empires. I played it my entire childhood. I love Halo. I played it my entire childhood. I have yet to play Halo Wars 1 and 2.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's just I have not played either of the two games.
Pretty solid RTS in Halo
They're good
Wars
games.
1.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I mean, I've owned them
you know,
both for decades.
It's weird. Halo Wars 1 grabbed me more than Halo Wars 2 did.
Yeah.
Even though
I feel the same way, Mike.
there was more depth in Halo Wars. I don't know if it's because didn't they add some kind of gas type of games as a service
Gas
aspect to Halo Wars 2?
It had some like
I'm trying to think of
it
what
did have
had.
some like post-release content.
Yeah, I remember that. The DLC I actually really enjoyed. I played all that too. It's
I think
good.
they added like characters too, like commanders or whatever.
Okay.
Oh, the hero units?
Maybe.
No, the like you pick a person and they have like special attributes to lead their armies or whatever.
Yeah, like Warcraft 3 hero units is where I go to with those things.
Yeah, they're good games. They're real good games.
If you want a new Halo Wars, then really hope that this RTS releases really does bring in a new age of RTS games. And if it does, I could definitely see them.
You know,
eventually.
with if some of the rumors are true about them branching out with different game types and different partnerships and stuff like that, I think now you have the better chance of getting a Halo Wars 3 than you did, 3 years ago.
Purchase Sega though, and
Triumph
even better.
another-
I'm just saying, get
I would-
CA. The other
I would
CA?
love a tactics type of game. Like Gears Tactics, I think is one of the most underrated games that Microsoft's released in the last few years, and it played really well. Like it didn't have all the depth of in between missions that XCOM has, but like the core loop was so good, and I think Halo would actually replicate XCOM really well. But that's a whole nother
topic.
squirrel to chase.
Yeah.
Fallout Tactics ruined me on any game with the word tactics in it. A game that was so bad, even Black Isle Studio was like, "Just kidding, guys, it's not canon anymore."
I've never heard of this game. Wow.
You're not missing out on anything.
There's a reason.
It is a dog turd of a game.
But yeah, I mean, hey, Microsoft's supporting like 5 RTS games. What's one more, right?
Yeah, I mean, just keep adding. All right, I think that's everything. Do you want to sign us off, Austin?
Guys, what a wonderful episode. This here 68th episode of the You Had Me at Halo podcast. We're your favorite boys. I know that we're all very excited about everything that we talked about today. I know you are too. And you're going to tell us by following us on Twitter, subscribing to Xbox Era here on YouTube, and rating the podcast wherever you listen to it, not here on YouTube. We're gonna pass it off. Let everyone tell you where they can be found. Soul, my friend, where are you at these days? What are you working on? Where can people find you online if they want to stalk
I'm
you?
here. I'm on Twitter. Next week I'll be driving down to Charlotte and attending the event. So check my Twitter out if you want to see pictures of that. Hopefully I'll be playing some of season 3 a little earlier. And they're going to be showing off. We forgot to touch on this. It's not a big deal. They're going to be showing off season 3 next Sunday. So if you're interested in checking that out, feel free to look that up.
Item.
Yeah. Otherwise, I think I'll have a couple, or not me, but I think I'll narrate a couple reviews for next week. Check the channel.
Awesome. Mike, what are you working on right now, man? Where can people find you if they wanted to keep up with you online?
Well, there's. Oh wait, no, is it here? Where is it? There's my Twitter. There's my Twitter right there. Didn't realize how awkward that would be. And yeah, I had to scrap a video because I was trying to do something on GoldenEye and that wasn't working out. So I got something else in. I'm cooking on. That's
nice.
The Dragon Ball Z Kakarot update. It finally came out. It was delayed. It was delayed on Xbox because of a stupid bug.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it was a bug. I think it was just an oversight. But yeah, I'm taking a look at that, and it's really it's pretty good so far.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited to catch that. Abe, my man, what podcasts are you on this week? Where can people find you online?
I'm actually outside of this podcast. I'm taking a break from podcasts this week.
Nice.
It's
Are you feeling okay? Is everything all right?
If anybody wants to find me, like, let's try the mic thing. Yeah. Wait, there it goes. There it is.
Oh my god,
that is awkward. Yeah, find me on Twitter. I'll let you know whatever I'm doing. And right now I'm, actually, Mike, we didn't tell. We're going to finally ship that book out. So
yes,
I'm so excited.
Yes,
like finally, so we can do other things because that's been like sort of hovering, right? That's just like the weight. What is that thing? But anyways, so we'll get that book shipped finally. This is the final weekend for Tweaks, and so I'll be spending a lot of that time and energy with Mike trying to get that out. And then outside of that, you'll probably see me on a podcast again next week or two or whatever. So.
Well, guys,
to answer your question, Mort, I'm trying to get my schedule in order to start streaming again. Unfortunately, work because of a major project has been killing me. So yeah, I do plan at some point to start streaming again. To answer your question.
Well, there you go, guys. My name is Austin. AustinFordGames everywhere on Twitter. You can catch me doing stuff at Xbox Era as well as at another website that I recently got a freelance gig at, doing guides for Sons of the Forest coming out next week. And
That's coming out next
Destiny 2 Lightfall the following week. So definitely going to be a lot of really cool stuff. Make sure you go check it out at jinx.tv. It is the UK's largest esports network. Guys, thank you so much for watching. You had me at Halo, episode 68. We love you, or listening, whatever you did. I don't care. We love you very much. Be safe, have fun, and we'll catch you next time.
With a G.
Bye, everyone.
See you guys.